Good morning, I'm Gene.
Eric.
Nancy.
Jerry.
And Robert.
And I'm Jessica.
Hi, I'm Jessica Berghoffer. Okay, recently I was getting my son dressed for our family dinner, and he was very unhappy about the clothes that I had picked out for him. He had to pick out, wear khaki pants, a nice button-down shirt, and dress shoes, and he didn't want to wear that at all, so it wasn't going to be a win-win situation for either one of us. When I finally got him dressed, he sat down on the bed, crossed his arms, pouted, and said, "I never get to do anything that I want to do," which is right. He doesn't have control over his surroundings. Grown-ups choose what their kids get to do, and whether we choose, positive or negative things, it impacts their health and well-being. When I was growing up, my friends had a lot of parents who smoked, and lots of them choose to protect their kids from secondhand smoke, and some of them didn't. And one of my best friends' parents brought her on a trip from Massachusetts to Florida, which was an 18-hour trip, and they chain smoked the entire way. And she still recalls this trip as being very miserable for her because they wouldn't roll the windows down. She was 13 years old at the time, and she never forgot it. Some states now have enacted legislature banning exposing children from secondhand smoke due to the health effects that secondhand smoke causes for children. So we all know that what chemicals are in secondhand smoke, but I'm just going to refresh your memory. An article in Kids Growth 2009 states tobacco companies refuse to provide a complete listing of these substances, which is not surprising. Few parents would purposely expose their child to a room filled with 200 known poisons, including formaldehyde, ammonia, and hydrogen cyanide, which is rat killer. Yet these poisons are found in a burning cigarette. So we may wonder how much of the smoke children are exposed to. Well, the same article did a study, and they found that if you put a child in a room for an hour, which basically they put them in a restaurant for an hour, and they found that that was equivalent of a child smoking 10 or more cigarettes. A lot of children who are exposed to secondhand smoke get asthma, lung infections, and ear infections. This was discovered by the American Cancer Society, and they found that since children's bodies are growing, they're especially susceptible to these illnesses, and they can actually be life-threatening, and they cause chronic and lifelong conditions. The 2013 statistics on smoking bans in cars with kids said that 7 states have banned carrying vehicles with kids if you're smoking, and they found that there was support of smokers to have these bans. They said that 60% of smokers actually support having these bans. Many smokers feel that since it's their freedom to smoke, that they actually have a right to smoke, and they can smoke around anybody that they want to smoke around, and that it's their right to feel that way, really. They don't have to necessarily, if there isn't a law banning them from smoking, they can smoke around their children. It's their right to do that. And then there are others who maybe they don't want to smoke around their children, and they might try not to, but they're addicted to nicotine. So there are some suggestions for people who, maybe are trying not to smoke around their children. I've had some friends who, when they get in their car, if they are trying not to smoke around their kids, they carry candy with them. And this may not, I'm not a smoker, so this may not sound feasible to people who do smoke, but one of my friends carries candy with her, and she smokes, keeps the smoke out of her car and has candy. And then there are studies that show that if you do smoke on your property at all, that the smoke does stay in your property, and the kids are still exposed to it even if you have ever smoked on your property. So if you are a smoker and you don't want to expose your kid to it, it's best just not to smoke on your property at all. So if you are a smoker and you don't want to expose your kid to it at all, it's best to just not smoke on your property at all, just smoke off of your property. For non-smokers who want to help not expose kids to secondhand smoke, you can push for legislature to help protect children from secondhand smoke, just like we're protected. There's no smoking in bars, there's no smoking in our offices. You can help push for legislature that'll protect kids from smoking in cars and smoking in private homes. Or you can help just support your friends who smoke, to help support them if they're trying not to smoke around their children. So this speech isn't about trying to get people to quit smoking, or it's just to help try to support them, smokers, just not to smoke around their kids, just to help children's health. We've discussed the imprints that it leaves on children. My husband, he's turning 50 this year, and he loved his dad very much, but he still remembers and discusses how every time his father would get in the vehicle with him, he would light up a cigarette, and it makes him cringe every time he talks about it. I mean, that's 50 years ago, and he still remembers that. Kids just don't forget that, you know. We've talked about the health consequences that it causes for children, and that they're lifelong, and the laws that have in place to protect kids, and we can put more of those in place. And we've talked about how we can protect kids now. The article in Kids Growth sums it up best. It says that every kid deserves a chance at life, and that we can, it's kind of harsh right here, but it says that we can stop committing child abuse by stopping smoking around them and giving them a chance at clean, healthy air to breathe.
Very good.